So one of the places where my clients end up getting stuck, and these are contractors that are trying to grow their business and they want systems and processes, but the place that they get stuck is wanting their systems or their SOPs or the process to be 100% perfect before they implement it. And the way it looks in the day-to-day business with a contractor is that they become a client of mine, I start working with them, and they never tell their employees that they're working with a coach to help them scale their business and to help streamline all their processes. And so they leave all of their employees in the dark, so they have absolutely no idea what's going on. And then what ends up happening is that the owner will then okay, here's this new SOP, you guys have to follow it. And all of a sudden you're whiplashing your employees because they're not really ready to accept that SOP because they have no buy-in, they have no why, they have no reason why you're doing it. And so this is kind of where the first mistake happens, is they don't bring their employees along with the whole process. And so one of the first things that I want all of my contractors to do is to literally have a sit down meeting with their employees and say, hey, look, we've just hired a coach and this is what we're trying to do. And this is why we hired this coach. And this is what we want in our business. And it's all around scaling the business. It's all around streamlining the processes. It's all around taking the chaos out of the business and replacing that with profits. And so once you have that sit down meeting, you can then get that feedback from them. And so instead of just saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, we're going to get an SOP for this, we're going to do a process for this, we're going to fix this problem. And it's really just barking orders again at your employees. They don't really want that. They don't really want to have orders barked at them. They don't really want to be told that they've got to do more work, because at the end of the day, they're probably going to be doing more work because they don't know what else to let go of. And so they're going to just be adding your SOPs to their process or adding the way you want things done on top of what they're currently doing. And some of it may need to actually be taken away. And so I want you, if you're a contractor watching this video, I want you to sit down with your employees and not make this mistake and be like, look, we need to overhaul this business and we need to make sure that there's no chaos in this business. And then ask the vulnerable question that you don't want to ask because you don't want to seem like you don't know everything and you don't have all the answers, because that puts you in a place of weakness and you don't want to be weak. Except in this instance, it's actually a good thing. And so ask your employees, where do you see that we can improve in this business? What do you think needs to change in order for us to not have this happen? You know, I get 100 calls a day on fixing things on the job site. What do you think that we could do to not have that happen anymore? What do you need? What do you need from me to actually have the things in place so that way you can do your job more effectively and efficiently? And so you're not frustrated all day long, starting and stopping and starting and stopping and waiting for me to answer something and running to the supply store or Home Depot to go grab a tool because you forgot it over here. All of that chaos can be solved, but you have to be all on the same page. And so once we have that conversation, then we can start documenting, okay, this is what we're currently doing, what's not working, what's working, and then we can shift, okay, what needs to happen in order for this process to work. And this is what I do with my clients on a regular basis, but this is also something that you can do without hiring me. And so when you start thinking about, okay, this is what we're currently doing, some of it's working, some of it's not, this is how we need to shift to things that will work better. It's not a shift and it's perfect. It's a shift and let's give the feedback. Is this working? Is this solving the problem? Is it reducing the amount of times that we're doing errands? Is it reducing the amount of rework that we're doing? Is it getting the job done more on time? A lot of times if a job is delayed by, let's say, 5 days, and then you put in a process and now you're typically only delayed 4 days, that's an improvement. But a lot of times people want to go from 5 days down to 0 days, and all within one SOP and all within one iteration of that SOP or that standard operating procedure. And so I challenge you to actually bring your employees along with that relationship and to bring your employees into that conversation and say, okay, we improved a little bit. What could we do now to improve a little bit more? And maybe that SOP or that process or the way you're doing things now didn't work. And so it's like, where's that feedback? Where's that conversation? Where is that flow between who's on the field and doing the work and you as the leader who want to get out of doing the field work and you want to be in the office, or you want to have more freedom and you want your business to grow, you want to be able to work on your business, but there's got to be that communication. A lot of times we just dump and run. We're like, okay, there's the SOP. Hope you read it. Hope it works. And hope you don't call me again. And that is not how it works with building a business that's going to run without you, because it can run without you, but it has to have the relationship and the foundation and the iterations and all of those tests in between to get to that point. It's not a switch that you can just flip and hope that it will work the first time. And so that's kind of the second challenge that I challenge you to write an SOP with your employees and be like, okay, what needs to be improved on this SOP? How can I make this SOP better? What am I missing in this SOP? What am I am just assuming in my mind that's happening? And when you read it, you're like, I don't have all the questions answered here. And the third thing that you want to do is that you want to make sure that if they find something that is wrong with the SOP, that you take complete curiosity in the process and you don't have any judgment. Oh, well, that's the way it was supposed to be, or that's the way we've always done it, or that's the way I thought would work. All of that judgment is going to silence your employees and make them never want to give you feedback on that SOP. And they will go silently do whatever they want to do because they know that if they have to follow your SOP, they're going to get frustrated and there's no way to give feedback to that SOP. And so if you honestly give them an SOP or give them a written process and be like, look, here's the process that I mapped out in my mind on how things should go for this job. Does this look right? What should be improved? And if they give you feedback, you have to humble yourself and take that feedback. Do not take it personally. It is part of the business. When my husband and I were scaling our brewery, and we were starting to leave a couple days at a time, over the weekend, a few nights, not working 100 hours a week. And eventually we got to the point where we could be gone for a week, 2 weeks at a time with not really any communication, and our business still ran. And as we were training our employees to get to that point where we could leave for a long period of time and we could be gone and they could run the business by themselves, we had to come back from any time we were away and we said, what broke? Not what did you break? Or what did you make go wrong? But we said, what broke? And so we were always like on the same team as our employees, looking at the process as its own entity and going, okay, what didn't work in the flow of things? What happened? What didn't happen? What should have happened in this situation? What did we not communicate well? And so all of those things end up having us collaborate on what didn't work versus just saying, okay, well, I had all these phone calls. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. And that you language has that judgmental tones to it that your employees do not like. Because guess what? They have pride too. So you have pride and you don't want to be wrong, but they also have pride and they don't want to be wrong. And all of a sudden you have two heads that are butting. And this is where you have employee problems. This is where people, talk about not being able to find employees that, want to do good work. It's like, well, actually, when you shift the dynamics and you shift how things are done, you actually can find a lot of employees that want to do the work for you, but you have to think about it from a different perspective. And so I want to take this video and I want to challenge you to really hone in on the SOPs and the process and collaborate with your employees so that way you can actually have that relationship and grow that business and eliminate the chaos and increase your profits with your employees instead of on your own.